Nah, boys, today we're with the man, Mr. Marcel Stam.
That's me.
Absolute legend. Have known this guy for, it's been just over a year now. It feels like I've known you for my whole entire life, but it's only been like 15 months. He was one of the first guys that really opened my eyes to what was possible. And we went traveling, we did a bunch of cool shit and made a fuck ton of money. Obviously, we've been friends for a long time, but you're also part of Only Earned. You're a core member of what we're building here. So wanted to sit down today, talk a bit about what you actually do, because there's a lot of people out there that don't even know what you actually do, and why you joined Only Earned. We can just take it from there, bro.
Sensational. So I actually run the best sales training program in the world, trying to build $1 billion e-learning company. And I think over a year ago now, I needed someone to help me with content, and I reached out to yours truly. He came on a couple of trips with us. He met everyone from our company and documented the process back then. And then obviously he's gone out and built his own thing. We're very happy to see. And hey, now we're here, and now he's building his own thing. And obviously he was a part of building my brand, so I'm going to be a part of whatever he builds moving forward. But it's been a blessing to see your growth and your success thus far.
Fucking oath. And obviously you started as a closer, with a fucking weapon closer, one of the best, then moved more into content and taking on a high leadership role at the company, doing some $80,000 months, which is fucking insane. How did you kind of get into closing and then into obviously what you're doing now?
So yeah, similar to yourself, I was working in construction, and you obviously found your path out via filmmaking. And for me, it was similar. I was learning a skill set, and I was working in construction, and I just hated my life. I know we all feel like we're meant for more, and not a lot of people go out and actually get more. But for me, I tried to start an agency. I tried a bunch of different businesses, and through trying and failing at all these different businesses, I realized that business is just using your skill sets to provide value, right? Yeah. The reason you have a business now is because you built your value, you built your skill set, and you can now provide value to people through that. So for me, when I was trying to run the agency, I was like, first thing I needed to do is sell a client and then run ads. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how to run ads, don't know how to sell a client. Let me learn how to sell. And then I invested in sales training, and then within a month I learned how to set, made $600, quit my job straight away, went all in. Fuck. After only making like $600, right? That's not enough. And then the next 2 weeks I made 200, which was less than my rent at the time. So I'm like, I'm gonna fucking go homeless. But stuck with it, pulled it off, and within 6 months I was doing 10K as a closer. By the end of that year I was doing 50K a month as a closer. And then, like you said, I started just talking about it naturally, and not a lot of people in Australia were posting content. Definitely no one talking about sales. So I started talking about it on TikTok and Instagram, just yapping to my camera, and it blew up. Like the first couple of videos I posted, I was doing like 60K views and then 500K views. And then as soon as I started making money, I traveled, and my first like million viewed video was when I was in Japan in the snow, and I was just talking about my journey. It just started ripping from there. And then obviously started teaching people what I knew, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And like fast forward to today, I would say you're easily like one of the most influential people in Australia when it comes to the entrepreneur space and being in the sales space, having like 140,000 followers and over 15K or 14K on YouTube.
152, bro.
150. Fucking hell. 150,000 followers. And pretty much every single entrepreneur I meet, they're like, yeah, I know Marcel. You know, I remember I used to see your stuff. I was scrolling TikTok, fucking hated my life, and I'd see this guy over in fucking Japan. I'm like, crash out. And then he reached out to me, and I was like, bro, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Let's run it. And that was only a year and a half ago, which I think is pretty crazy. So I guess that's obviously what you're doing now. And you've kind of had a bit of a community, a couple guys, but usually they're all kind of within the company. And then obviously you met a lot of people from your personal brand, which not a lot of entrepreneurs do have that blessing to like just reach out to anyone and they'll probably reply to you, right? You could reach out to most entrepreneurs and they're probably going to reply to you just because of your following. So how was it joining Only Earn and actually, I guess, meeting a bit of different range of business owners, entrepreneurs you probably wouldn't usually meet because they don't have a personal brand. They're not really doing content. They're just like, running a random landscaping business or they're building, they're doing crypto or something. Like, how was that coming into and actually kind of building a new community, different types of relationships?
Yeah, I would say that I kind of understood how important community was early on through my own business and through my own company.
Yeah.
But then obviously through meeting you through like natural ways, and actually having different people that could provide different value. And even you, before Only Earn was a thing, I'd met a lot of like high level guys and connected with a lot of people through you. And I could tell that was like kind of your thing a little bit, where you're like, you always had really, really good connections beforehand. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's not something that I'd ever focused on. It always happened like organically for me. But then you realize like that is because we spent X amount of time locked in our house building our value, and putting ourselves out there. But a lot of people haven't been able to get to that point yet, sometimes because they don't have the connections, or they're not open to seeing that there's more out there, right? Like you mentioned, you coming in contact with me showed you that it was possible a little bit, as well as like other guys that you know, right? So there's certain people that they might be doing something, they might be finding some traction with stuff, but they don't actually really know what's possible yet because their circle isn't really conducive to them knowing it. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know what you don't know. And if you're not around people that are doing $1 million months or whatever it may be, then it's like, well, how do you even know that's possible? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also think, because I remember, like, what gets you from A to B won't necessarily get you from B to C. And like, I remember when I was first traveling with you guys, and to be honest, I was at the point where I was so bought in on my own vision of me doing my own thing, but I still was like, fuck, Marcel's a G. Like, I'm going to go travel with him anyway. But you were the last trip that I ever like actually creative directed for entrepreneurs and did with. And I remember when I was on that trip and I was like talking about meeting guys and like, Alfie, and I've met all these other guys and I'm going to keep meeting people and the content's blowing up. And even a couple of guys that were from the community, from ABC and stuff, were kind of like, just like, obviously joking around, I'm always joking around, but like connecting and like, you're just meeting up with guys. And I think it's like, I understand where they're coming from, because if you're coming from the mindset of nothing to like 10K a month, do you need a community if you're just starting out? No, I think just fucking learn the skill and have value, right? But then it's like, what you'll find is you kind of get stuck at this like 10 to 15K per month mark if no one around you is really pushing you and no one around you is actually like better than you. And so I always recommend guys that are just looking into like getting started, like, just fucking dial in a skill. Don't go out there and be with a bunch of entrepreneurs. Like, it makes no sense. You have no value to bring to the table. You're just going to be the odd one out. But I think when guys hit the 10K mark or the 20K or 50K mark, when they want to get to that next level, like, they almost need it with them. And so I think that's where a bit of the disconnection came. But I think it's cool now how, even Nelson and all the guys, everyone's starting to like really get around and start reaching out to people, which is cool.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when it comes to networking and connections and stuff like that is, I guess where we see the issue with it is when it's like you're going to connect just for the sake of connecting, right? And like, probably any high level person isn't going to go to like a networking event in Bali.
Yeah, you got to be selective. 100%.
Exactly. So it's about, like you said, actually building your value and getting to the point where people want to be friends with you, right? You do that through your brand. You do that through having connections. You do that through all kinds of things. But I think the most important thing is, I don't think having a community or networking is who you know. It's who likes you, who wants to actually do stuff for you because they like you. And it's people that you have that exchange of value with. You know what I mean? And I think people get it messed up when they're like, I've not done anything yet and there's really nothing, like, I have no redeeming qualities, but I want all these people to know me. It's like, for what? But that's why it's important to actually be someone worth knowing, you know what I mean? And build your own value first.
Yeah, and I understood that as well, especially when I was starting out. People were always asking, like, how'd you build a network when you were like just starting out? You didn't really have too much value to bring. And I would just give, like, I'd fucking just do whatever I could for them. And I remember just being like, look, I'm gonna just help them out with the best I can. I think it was like Alfie connecting him with Adam, or just like doing anything where I can help them and just not ask for anything in return. And I think if you're coming into a community looking for a just completely transactional relationship, then you're coming into it with the wrong mindset. So I always came into it with, okay, how can I just give, right? But now, because I'd done that and I'd built such good relationships with people, I have just the craziest fucking opportunities out of nowhere. People would just invite me places or want to do stuff for me, or if I need help with anything, I'll ask them and they'll do it for me because, I've built up that goodwill. Okay, cool. And what would you say is one of the best parts about being a part of a entrepreneur's community?
People are going away from just like buying info. People want proximity, right? So even what we've noticed in our own company, it's an education company, right? But even with that, if people get to be around me, right? If someone invests with me and then I do a mastermind and they actually get to come to that and get to meet me in person, that's what people want. People don't want to be like handed a packet or handed like a Slack or Discord or something like that. And they're like, go through the modules. People want proximity to who they're buying into. You and me are creating content. We're putting ourselves out there. how annoying would it be if you piff someone and then you get put into this thing and you never even speak to that person again?
Yeah.
So I think people now, they want proximity. And obviously that's the biggest thing with your community is these people will watch, they consume your content online. And when they invest, it's not like they're investing in, you know, watching content. It's like they're actually investing in being in proximity to really high net worth individuals or, you know, really valuable people. And that's what you want, you know what I mean? So I think that, and then obviously it being selective where it's like, you're not just going to bring anyone on for the sake of bringing people on. You want actual people that are doing something
Actual
that
killers,
are going to be able to kind of transmute that value into each other. And even being in it thus far, it's like there's a bunch of different people from a bunch of different spaces, but everyone has something to kind of provide and, you know, transfer to each other.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and I think like tailoring off that is, I speak to a bunch of entrepreneurs, guys that are killing it. They're killers. They're making decent money, but they literally just do not see the value in a community. They're like, I don't see value in being surrounded by other entrepreneurs. What would you say to someone that is looking into a community but doesn't just be like, I'll join in like 3 months, maybe 6 months. Like I don't really need it right now, but they also don't have anyone around them. Like they're just grinding it out. Maybe they're making 30K a month with ecom. They've got no one around them, but they're also, it's almost like you don't know you need a community because you don't have a community. So you don't see the problem. You know what I mean? So I guess my question is, what would you say to someone who feels like they don't actually need a community right now? They're an entrepreneur, they have a successful business, but they just don't really feel like they need a community right now.
I mean, I would say it just comes down to like the vision that you have for your life, right? And understanding that who you're surrounded by is ultimately who you'll become. There's this thing that I live by. It's like always stay vertical. No one is going to, like, all of the richest people, they're all moving. They're all around people. They're in different environments. Like maybe, okay, you're getting the 10K a month, 20K a month. You can do that locked in your room. But like the high level guys are always active. They're always moving. They're always learning new things from all kinds of different people. They'll be with like a banking person, and then they'll be with like a finance person. They'll be with like a content person. They're always in different environments. So if you're not going out there and putting yourself in different environments and you think you're going to just make it by being locked in a room, you don't have the access to new ideas and new data sets and new ways of thinking and new ways of, you know, new beliefs, because you're just locked in your own environment. So it's like you can't really think out of the box if you're in the box all the time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think everyone understands that, like, the key to scaling a business is delegation. Like, everyone knows that, right? Like, they know, okay, well, I can't do everything. Realistically, I can't be the guy that's wearing all the hats. I need to get other people in my team to help me, you know, do fulfillment, help me take sales calls, whatever it is. But then when it comes to community, they don't see it like that, which I think is crazy. Is like, they'll just go and they'll be like, oh yeah, but when a problem comes in my business that is, you know, maybe it's quite a high level problem, they're trying to fix a bottleneck, I'll just, like, I won't delegate that to another person. I won't ask someone else. I'll just try to fix it myself, which I think is weird, because when you have a problem with, well, not necessarily a problem, but when you're trying to scale, you'll usually just hire someone in the team. And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to look at community as something, as in they're almost delegating, you know, certain bottlenecks and certain problems that they have to ask other community members, ask other people that are in the community to help them solve those problems.
It's the same with anything, right? Like, I've placed reps and setters on other people in the community. Typically, they wouldn't know where to go or what to do, right? So it's like, even we've invested in people who like help you scale to $1 million a month and beyond that and stuff. And even when you ask a question in a group chat like that, you get answered by the 10, 20, 30 other people in that first before you get answered by the person actually running it, right? Because a lot of the people you're going to be around are going to have already gone through the same issues with content, issues with sales that other people have gone through. So it's expediting the entire process again. But I would say that's the main thing, is like, it comes down to your vision of your life. Do you want to be that guy who's just locked in a room for the next 20 years and like you never really think out of the box? And what sort of life do you want? Do you want something that's exciting and you're getting new experiences and you're getting new ideas and you have good relationships and stuff like that? Or do you want to just be that, you know, introverted weirdo in your room, like obsessing over a computer screen? There's nothing wrong with like obviously being focused, but it's like at a certain point,
it's seasons.
Like, exactly. It's like, what do you actually want from life? If that's the vision that you have for your life, and that's fine. But for me, I'm not someone who wants to just be living on a computer screen.
If you were to explain to someone, like, how does a community actually make you more money? Like, how does it actually scale the business, scale the personal brand?
There's obviously multiple ways. Like, one of the ways is me obviously placing reps and placing setters, and then the same thing comes back. Like, if someone you helping me with content. It's the access that you have to different ideas and different roles and everything. Like the quality of your connections and the quality of your network dictates the quality of your life in a sense. Because like I said, if you're not connected to anyone, you don't think differently, you don't move differently, you don't have new ideas, you don't believe different things. Whereas if you can come into a community, for example, say there's some guys in Only Earn that are around 20K a month, then you and me are doing 80, 100, 150. Instantly, them just being in a community with us makes them think, oh, well, I'm in a community with people doing 150. It would only make sense if I'm getting ideas and, getting value from them that I would also then hit that. Yeah. So a lot of the times people don't actually need the info. They need the belief, and then getting access to the belief, because you're seeing guys and you're constantly surrounded by people who are doing those numbers. Not only do you believe it's possible, but almost becomes normal. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, well, I know these guys, I'm friends with them. They're completely normal people, but they're doing 200, 500K a month. It only makes sense for me to also get to that point.
And I feel like there's also a level of like proactiveness, right? If no one asks for a setter, you're not going to give them a setter, right? And so you have to be aware of your problems and be able to actually utilize the community. But if you literally just ask, like, you're going to be able to solve every problem. There's so much value to a community that people don't see. And it's like pretty much any fucking problem you have, whether it's an editor, whether it's getting a filmmaker, an appointment setter, getting a new ads agency, whatever it is, you just ask. I guarantee you someone has solved that problem.
Yeah.
And going on to like thinking bigger as well, where I remember for me is like, you think when you're starting out, 20K a month, fuck, this is like insane. Like this is the top. Now I remember I was living with Alfie and he's doing $1 million a month. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like I literally feel like a piece of shit. I thought I was the big player, but I'm literally just getting started. I'm not even in the race. You know what I mean? And that just lighted a whole new desire to be successful inside me, and like a whole new hunger to be like, yo, I'm not doing enough and I'm not satisfied with where I am and I really shouldn't be. And I think that's where all the enjoyment out of entrepreneurship comes, is like seeing people that are further ahead than you and just getting motivated and being like, fuck, I want to be where they are. I want to be up with them and I want to be a killer. So yeah, last question is, what are you most looking forward to this year with Only Earned? Obviously we got Japan next week and then a bunch of epic travels after you go to Dubai. What are you most looking forward to? Aside from Japan, you can't say that.
Dude, I'm just happy to be with my friends, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But nah, I'm obviously excited for Japan. That's the first time we actually met each other, was when we flew to Japan and you were filmmaking. So it's good to kind of come full circle now. We're both up, we're both grown, a lot. So I'm excited for that. And then who even knows, bro, like what life's going to look like mid-year. Obviously, we're both scaling aggressively. So I'm mainly excited to, go on these travels, but do it as, a better version of ourselves, and do it as a, more competent version, and see what life really has to offer, because obviously we've already unlocked a lot of stuff, but it's just the beginning. So I'm excited.
I think a big thing for us is last year, like we traveled and we're making decent money, but we weren't making anywhere near the same amount of money we were now. And so now thinking of, okay, well, we're going to have anywhere from 4 to 10 other entrepreneurs with us at a time as we travel. So we're going to have a lot more people to do like cooler shit and to get bigger houses and whatnot. But then also we're going to have filmmakers with us. And I think that the content that we shoot this year is like, I thought last year was good. I think this is going to I've got a full-time filmmaker going to be coming with me. I think this year is going to be insane in terms of the content that we're able to get. And I think another cool thing is like all the guys that come on the trips, they use all of our content. We film with them. We bring our filmmakers that they can use, and they get access to all the content at the end of the trip. And now their personal brands are blowing up. I'm seeing them use all of our content and they're blowing up. But I love it because that was one of the big reasons why they joined the community, is to obviously gain access to like building a personal brand and being a part of us and filming content with us. And now we're all up. Now we're all killing on content. So let's go, boys. This is going to be a sick year. Let's fucking go.